What's good, everybody? The ambassador here, back with another theme park ERT enthusiast roundtable, episode number 14, and we're keeping the trend alive. This is episode 14 on the 14th. Sounds good to me. I like those odds. But on this roundtable, we brought two of probably the friendliest guys you'll ever meet in the enthusiast community, and they're both in the same camera. Check it out. It is MrKingCoaster and Julius. How are you guys?
How are you? I'm
Hello.
doing good.
Doing well.
I love that you are together, because that's the way it should be, because you guys together are like a good time. So sharing a camera, being on our podcast, love it. And also we've got John over here with, on the ones and twos, as they say. I always point the wrong direction. I'm going to go. And we got John over here.
I actually, what's up, guys? Thanks for coming on the show. And I actually do have ones and twos.
There you go. It's ones and twos, everybody.
Yeah,
Right.
there you go.
Semi-legit right now. I love it. So how are things going? Like, it seems like you both have been traveling like crazy. Like, where have your latest adventures brought you?
Ooh.
You want to start? You want me to start?
Okay. I guess I'll start.
Yeah.
So obviously, COVID has affected everything. And me being in California, the rest of us, traveling's been kind of challenging.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've kind of had to get a little creative on where I want to go. So just kind of been visiting the coast, going to see family and things like that. But recently, as you know, in California, some parks have opened up, kind of going around the rules a little bit, getting creative with how they can open.
Right.
So I've been going to Discovery Kingdom, checking out their animal exhibits and their shows, as well as going to the Taste of Calico that Knott's had. I also was able to check out the San Diego Zoo and the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. So I've been kind of getting a little creative, still getting that kind of, amusement park, theme park feel, just going about it in a little different way, just so I can still get that magic, that feeling that we're all used to whenever we go inside of the park. So that's what I've been doing.
Absolutely.
Nice.
And to be fair, he's also been very safe. I've been watching your videos and your updates, and you're wearing a mask where you need to be, and you're not going up and just randomly hugging elderly people. So it's
no.
So
yes.
Being safe and no, I love that you brought up that point of that feeling that you get when you go to that park. Yes, we all love to ride roller coasters and we love to ride the rides, but there's that atmosphere that I think we're all longing for, especially us here in California. I know other places in the world and in the country, parks have opened up, but for us, lowly Californians, we've just been seeking that. So I actually love that the parks have figured out kind of a way to bring that feeling back, especially like Knott's Berry Farm with that Taste of Knott's, where they had Timber Mountain Log Ride running, just
yes.
the atmosphere.
Having the water just added so much to the ambiance. Like it made everything feel complete. If the water wasn't on, it still would have been a great event. It's not. They do events very well, but just having the water going and the waterfall, and they also had the stagecoaches going by. Yeah. It just it completed everything.
Yeah. Oh, and I love it. So what about you, Darren? What have you been able to do recently?
So you know what? I actually been driving all around America. That's not an understatement. So with everything going on, California has been shut down for quite a while. So I decided to drive, from California directly across to go visit some family. And along the way, I stopped at a couple theme parks. So I've been to Kings Island, Cedar Point, Six Flags Great Adventure, Six Flags America. And we actually just finished our trip here in Texas. So we got to see Six Flags Over Texas and SeaWorld San Antonio. So
nice.
I've been driving, going to these theme parks so that I can create more content for people who love to see theme parks.
Absolutely. We got to do what we got to do. And I'll preface it the same with you. It's like, you're being safe. You're not being irresponsible. I know there might be people out there going, oh, you shouldn't be traveling across state lines, stuff like that. No. And you guys are being very, very, very responsible and safe.
Right.
Exactly.
We're going to squash that right.
The parks is that they keep their safety protocols in check and in order. So you know, social distancing in line, sanitizing after every ride, you know, things of that nature. It's really good.
And one thing I like to point out about the parks is that one thing they're kind of creating this culture where they're switching from that word of social distancing to physical distancing. You know, kind of like reinforcing, okay, this isn't just a social thing. You need to actually be physically 6 feet apart. And I love that they're doing that, you know, taking things more seriously. And I know I for sure have felt safe in every park that I've gone into.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And I love the new technology too, like Six Flags over Texas. I'm sure there's other, you know, theme parks too, but that like temperature tunnel that you walk through.
Yes.
I mean, that was legit. For those of you who don't know, basically it's set up like a tent that's like had enclosed walls and it was air conditioned so that, you know, because it's Texas and it's bloody hot, like to kind of cool you down a little bit. And then you, as you're walking down, they have some sort of invisible technology that just as you're walking, it takes your temperature. It's fantastic. It was really, really cool. And it was simple. Yeah. I mean, there was like, I mean, at least because I was there a couple of weeks ago. I mean, just what, like, there wasn't any wait. It was just like, all right, keep coming. You know, it was like.
Yeah, it was quick. Everyone just kept going through. It was executed beautifully, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's actually, before we start getting into fun parks that we've been to and stuff like that, let's also talk about you both. How did you explain your channel names and your Instagrams and things like that, and how you kind of got into just being an enthusiast? Let's start with MrKingCoaster.
Yeah. MrKingCoaster.
Yeah.
So I have always been an enthusiast growing up. You know, I played Roller Coaster Tycoon. I wanted to even design roller coasters when I went to college. Yeah. And even more so now, it's always just been a part of me. It's just my place of happiness, so to speak. So when I'm on a roller coaster, I'm at my happiest. And so I got an opportunity to work with California Coaster Kings about 2 years ago. Sean and Alex, shout out to them. They're really great people. I was able to do a lot of different park updates for various parks in California. And from there, I'm branching off more into MrKingCoaster. And what I mean by that is that I want to show people my perspective inside the park so that, you know, you all can come in and enjoy it as well. So I'm focusing on doing a lot of my YouTube, my vlogging, and that can be anything from ride experience, taste food in the park, you know, the sky's the limit.
Do you remember your first coaster? What was that first coaster you rode that kind of gave you that spark, that like, oh my gosh, I want to keep doing this type of thing?
For sure. So I grew up around Knott's Berry Farm. That was my home park for like a while. And the very first coaster that gave me that spark was the Sidewinder, the Timberline Twister.
Yeah.
And, it's, you know, right there in Camp Snoopy.
Yeah.
So I believe it's still there too.
It is. Yeah.
But just that feeling of, you know, immersion like within Camp Snoopy, and then like being free, and then of course some small pops of airtime, which I didn't even know was a thing back then. So you know, it got the juices flowing a little bit, you know.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. What about you, Julie?
For me, honestly, kind of like every other enthusiast, had every Roller Coaster Tycoon game, but what really set it apart for me, it was a family thing to go to theme parks. So growing up, my home park was Six Flags over Georgia, and my entire family, we all had season passes every year growing up, and we always went. We're bored on a Saturday, we're heading up Six Flags over Georgia. And it's funny because I was actually afraid of roller coasters, but I have this big hulking uncle who was in the Air Force, very military driven, and the coaster that really got me as an enthusiast was when Superman actually came out at Six Flags over Georgia. It was the first clone in the Six Flags chain. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to cry and I really wanted to get off. But my uncle, being the big strapping military man that he is, kind of, you know, said, hey, you know, this what makes a man. So we went on there and I had a blast.
Oh,
and
awesome.
From then on out, just having such a great experience with my family and also growing up in the parks with them, that's really what got the enthusiast bug within me. And, you know, now I just travel whenever I can, to different parks. And I really try to go with other people. If they can't make it, that's okay. But having that other piece of it, sharing it with others, that's what I enjoy. That's what I like doing, because that's what I grew up doing. And that's how I relate to theme parks. That's where I bring that together.
I think that's a great point. The community part of going to a theme park, that sharing makes just as fun. Like I can remember some of my very favorite theme park days or amusement park days have been in groups of people that are enjoying themselves. I mean, I'll go by myself, sure, but it's like going to a movie. Remember when we used to go to movie theaters? Remember that? Yeah. But,
that was the thing? What?
Yeah. Like, going to see a movie by yourself, it's fine, but you're just kind of like, I really should be with somebody. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. But, and you talked about traveling around. Talk about where did Travelingrectherapist come from? That's your alter ego name.
Yeah, okay. So again, because my family we've always been fortunate enough to where we could travel, even if it's an hour away, 2 hours away, across the country. Traveling has always been a part of us. We've also moved a lot as well. Mm-hmm. So I've always had that within me. So it's a part of me growing up. It's a part of my identity. And if I'm not traveling, then I'm not doing what, it's like breathing to me. So it's, it makes me happy. And it also makes me reminisce on all of the adventures that I've shared with my family and my friends. So that's kind of where the Travelingrectherapist came from, is because I do it for my mental health, because it keeps me happy, which as a therapist, that's what I try to instill in others. So I'm practicing what I preach. I'm doing what I love. I'm taking care of my mental health, which of course in times like this is very important. Yeah. So that's kind of where the alter ego came from. So if you don't catch me at a park, you're going to catch me at a resort, you're going to catch me at the beach, you're going to catch me somewhere.
Right. And I think the important thing is you actually are a therapist. So that's what I think. It's not just a name.
Yes.
Like I'm not actually an ambassador. That's all fake.
No. I got my degree in therapy. I'm a practicing therapist legally. Yes.
Nice. So if you do see him in the parks and you need someone to talk to,
right. Would you like to know my hourly rate?
That's right. And your rate differs from front row seat to back row seat. It's like what you know.
There you go.
Or if
I get discounts if I get the back row seat.
Well, if you're in line for a ride, he's already waiting, so you get a discount.
Yeah. If the queue line is longer than an hour, then
right.
You get a discount.
No, that's so great. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. Because I have a few family members that have autism, and I've also, because I live right next to Magic Mountain, and so I'm like Magic Mountain all the time, and I've met people with autism and things like that who. Something about roller coasters, something about just being at those parks. There's something about it that actually I want to make sure I'd say this delicately, but I'll just say with my family members, I have a nephew and a niece that both have autism, and their eyes light up, and wow. they're more talkative, and then they I don't know if it's adrenaline, I don't know what it is, but it's something that you can just see a change in them when they're out riding a coaster or they're on a ride. And it's just like you said, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to witness, because I really think there's something to that. And there's a time where I took my son, I have a 5-year-old son, and we, go hang out in Bugs Bunny World for an afternoon, right? And there was my son loves to make little friends and have little ride buddies. He wants to go ride the little kiddie coasters with them. And he found this kid and he was riding for it. And the mother came up to me, she's like, look, my son he's like really severely on the spectrum, and he doesn't talk to people. He's afraid of people, but seeing him interact with your son is really, she was like in tears, because I guess this doesn't happen. Oh, wow. And, and she was like thanking me for my son. I said, yeah, no, my son has maybe a little bit to do with it. He's very outgoing, but I really think it's the environment. It's that magic. It's that coasters that will really, it brings something out in you. So, I really appreciate you saying that, Julius, where, there's that mental health, for everybody.
That's important. Yeah, mental health is important.
Very.
Yeah. So, along those same lines, can you recall a story of a time that at a theme park or an amusement park that just meant so much to you?
Me?
Sure, both of you.
Oh,
Talk at the same time. 3, 2, 1, same time. No, just kidding.
that meant so much to me. So when I say that my family literally loves theme parks,
Yeah.
in 2010, we had a family reunion at Universal, and we had family members come from all around the country to go to Universal Orlando, let me be specific.
Sure.
And I, to this day, I can just recall all of our faces when we were able to just walk into Universal, and you know how it opens up. It goes from like this kind of, you go escape the world. And so it's kind of like we all walked into a story together, and then to go to each attraction together and like be able to laugh and, to the point where we're hurting and, you see your family members kind of like shying away, and then you have enthusiasts like me who are hands up high. That's things like that. Memories like that are something that I recall all the time.
Yeah. What about you, Darian?
Yeah, so like I said, my home park was Knott's Berry Farm, and growing up, we would go there all the time. But there's this one memory that stands out the most. My grandmother, actually, I call her Little Granny, she loves the log ride. Like every single time we would have to ride the log ride. And that was like her first thing that she wanted to do when we got there. So one day we were actually riding the ride. And I'm like, you know what? I don't actually want to do this ride today. Like, that'd be so crazy. And I'm like, you know what? Okay, let's go do it. And, from that point on, I just didn't want to take anything else for granted, being in the parks and just being with family or being with friends. And it's just an experience that just stays with me to this day.
Yeah.
Great.
And that's so great. Like one of my favorite memories as well, obviously with my family, like I said, I've got a budding little enthusiast now, and he loves it. We'll talk about Shockwave. But
Shockwave!
Oh,
yeah. All right, we'll tangent. Let's go now. I mean, I hate to say it because, I wanted to just talk about how, I had fond memories of, West Coast Racers opening, and we were all there, and there was just that electricity because we were kind of celebrating together, and I really enjoyed that. It was something that kind of made everything kind of like all the updates and all that stuff that we've been doing forever. It just was that final package, that bow, just to have everybody there,
Exactly.
And the ride at that point almost didn't matter,
Right.
Oh, that's perfect.
Right.
It was just being able to see this completion of, and we saw you there, Darian, like you saw John and I there, we were always like, I know it took a while for us to kind of say hello to each other, but we're like, hey, there's probably enthusiasts over there taking some pictures.
We were fighting for the same window in the gift shop one day.
But
Right.
I really liked that, how kind of at the end it was just like, here we are. It was almost like our baby. It's like we're proud. Look at our little baby being opened. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
Exactly.
let's go to Shockwave. Okay, so you guys were just at Six Flags Over Texas. I was at Six Flags Over Texas about 3 weeks ago, and it was hotter than Hades when I was there. I don't know how it was for you, but it was 100 degrees, 100% humidity.
Ooh.
It was bad news bears.
It was hot this time. Maybe not that hot.
Not that hot.
But it
So,
was hot.
So riding the coaster with the mask, I mean, I get it. We want to be safe, but with that mask on and that hot and that humidity was making rides, especially very strong positive G-force rides, to me kind of like, But my son was so excited that Shockwave, which is that, Schwarzkopf double looper, it's 42 inches. 42 inches. It only has a lap bar, and my son could ride it. And this was going to be his first looping coaster ever. Like, we've been waiting for a Revolution, but Revolution, I think, is 48. And so,
Oh, wow.
And I would say Shockwave is crazier than Revolution.
It is.
Definitely.
Most definitely.
So, my son is so excited. So that was our first ride of the day. We just beelined it all the way back there, checking out everything. We got on that ride, and my little son, his head's just popping up over the thing, and we're going up the lift hill, and he was like, oh, I'm a little scared now. We held hands, And we got off that thing, and I'm kind of graying out after the second loop right into the mid-course. I'm like, whoa, hey now. But he's like, yeah, just like loving it. And it was just a magic moment for me. So when I saw your Instagram story talking about how you're like, best ride in the park, possibly, I was like, how was your experience? Like, what like, was that your last ride of the day, or what? It was kind of toward the end of the day, right?
Yeah, so you know what? We actually, they have their hours from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. So that was a little strange at first. And so we went into the park, not thinking anything. I had never been there before.
Right.
And I was like, Mr. Freeze, Mr. Freeze, Mr. Freeze, Mr. Freeze. So we got Mr. Freeze. It was great. And then we went over to Shockwave.
Right.
And like my life was like, like blown away from Shockwave. Completely.
I've been to Over Texas before,
yeah,
but I was with other people, so it wasn't an enthusiast trip. So I had ridden Mr. Freeze, and I hyped up Mr. Freeze pretty highly for Darion, and it met his expectations. But I didn't ride Shockwave, so this was our first time riding it together. And I heard all of these things, and Darion heard all of these things about the ride. So we're kind of going with this, like I guess average expectations.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Blown away by the entire ride, because going up the lift hill, Darion said to me, "Oh, I heard this was an airtime machine." I was like, "What are you talking about? This is Shockwave." Out of my seat almost the entire time, except for the loop. So obviously,
yeah, the loops are like this. And then you come out, and then right after you come out that second loop, right before that,
to be honest,
when you come out that second loop, right, and then you go right into the pops up into the mid course.
Mm-hmm.
That's when my brain said nope, and I was like, hey.
Yeah, and I may have been just like your son there, because like the masks don't bother me at all on these coasters. And what I always tell people in the parks is take breaks in between, because it is a lot now. Yes. Because you have to wear masks in these parks. Yeah. So they do have mask release areas where you can go ahead, take them off for a minute, get some water, maybe get some food somewhere. Of course, distance.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm a fan of, riding Shockwave with the mask.
Yeah, it was cool. I did have to take one of those breathing breaks after Judge Roy's scream.
Yeah.
I got off. Yeah. 1 minute. Holy cow, Judge Roy's scream. What a coaster.
So
what did you say it was?
Judge, it was, I think I compared it to an SLC, to be honest.
Yeah.
First off, honestly, I remember you and I having a conversation. The name alone. Just Roy Scream. I can never say it correctly.
The fact that at the top of the lift hill, like most wooden rule, what do you say, like hands down, or don't stand up. This one says appeal denied. So Texas.
It's such a hilarious coaster. Yeah. But it's in its own secluded area, and it's honestly kind of beautiful if you can kind of ignore the rattle.
It's something out of roller coaster technique.
It was the restraint for me. The restraint was like coming down on my rib cage, not my lap, and it was just like maybe I was doing it wrong.
Yeah. Especially for those that kind of have an extra large rib cage. But I understand the experience.
Yeah. What did you think of New Texas Giant?
You know what? Having been to Cedar Point, and I'm sorry, I have to make the comparison because I rode Steel Visions first. Sure. And, we have Twisted back at our home park at Six Flags Magic Mountain. And I felt that New Texas Giant was great. I don't feel any RMCs are, less than great. I just felt it lacked in a little of the forces towards the second half of the ride. But overall, I thought it was great. Maybe not the top, in my opinion, in the park, but nothing less than that.
Yeah.
I thought it was a solid ride. Yeah. This was my second time riding it, because, again, I've been to Over Texas before. For me, excellent first drop. I love the first drop. RMCs, the best part is the ride, honestly. For me, the second best. That double up, actually, right after the first drop is my favorite. But after that, the ride kind of meanders through. But what I kind of chalked it up to is Darion didn't get the full experience of the ride going the entire day, the track being warmed up, because while, you know, the park, they started running the rides at 6 o'clock. And then on top of that, they were taking sanitizing breaks to clean the ride.
Right.
So, you know, the ride wasn't continuously going, and then the trains weren't fully loaded. So there were a lot of factors playing into it that, you know, you know, for the first time, it was kind of not underwhelming. It was just like, I've ridden more forceful RMCs. Sure. So if the ride was running in its full capacity, I think, you know, it would have been like the highlight of the day, to be honest.
Yeah. But you can't take away from it being like the first RMC.
Exactly.
You know, that's classic, you know?
Well, absolutely. And I have the exact same opinion that you both just said. The way that I put my positive spin on it is I go, I could see where RMC was about to go. You know, you ride it.
There we go. Exactly. There we go.
You go, okay. And even Alan Schilke said that's his least favorite one that he's designed. Like, but the cool thing about that is that because of that coasters where they started to put that little metal, you know, on their track, they've had like a little flat metal connector between the two iBox things. That was a result of the New Texas Giant, because when Alan Schilke wrote it, he said, I felt every single gap and it bothered him. So he went back and said, let's design that thing to, and so that's what we get the RMC smoothness. So in a way you gotta go, okay, thank you, New Texas Giant. But but I'll tell you what I didn't like was hitting my elbow on that faux window plexiglass.
Yeah, I love the trains. I did love the trains.
The trains looked great, but the window, I don't know have the windows always been there?
Don't know that answer. Get in the comments if you guys know. Is that as a result of that accident that happened?
Please let us know.
Don't know. But I mean, I get what the look was, you know, because it's supposed to be an old, you know, Texas Cadillac type of thing. But I hit my elbow on that like 3 or 4 times. I'm like, ow.
You felt kind of boxed in, and then of course you take in COVID and the mask. It can take away from the ride.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I like
the tunnels were amazing. I forgot about the tunnels. Tunnels were really good.
The tunnels were really good. And what about the chicken noises for those who wanted to not ride the ride to go into the observation area?
So can I tell you about okay.
Sure.
So because we actually had our fast pass for the ride, they actually made us go through the exit. They didn't make us go through the fast pass, pass lane.
Sure.
So they made us stand in the chicken coop as if we were afraid to ride the coaster. So everyone is looking at us. We're embarrassed and it's loud as can be in the station. And we're 4 of us are just standing there in the chicken coop, like
listening to chickens cluck.
Right.
We and speaking of also just, you know, we won't dwell the entire time on Six Flags Over Texas, but were you able to ride the mine train?
Yes. Oh, yes, we did. Yes, we did.
It was close.
Great.
I didn't know that was the first one ever.
Oh.
Did you know it was the first one ever?
I didn't.
That is the first mine train ever built.
Wow.
I could tell. I could tell you that.
Wow.
It was a beautiful ride, and we actually got a night ride on it.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Like he said, the finale, I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, the finale was everything, because, you know, I've been used to a lot of aero mine trains. We're like, okay, this is what it is. And then we go through this last like section, and I'm like, oh, there's nothing else. And we literally dive off of the out of the station.
Yeah.
Or
it was kind of like a
it's shed. In a little shed. Yeah.
And then right under the lake, and I'm like, wow, like that was amazing. You know?
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Like it was close when we were there. And it's so interesting because I started doing some more research. I didn't realize. Did you go on the log ride that was there?
We did, and we wanted to, but it was down for
I think it was they're kind of going away with their summer hours or something.
Oh, I see.
So it actually gets cold here, believe it or not.
But yeah, that's the first log ride ever built.
Wow. Whoa. See, now I got to go back and
isn't that crazy?
Credit.
Exactly. Is it a credit?
No, it's not. I guess it's a log ride, but it predates Timber Mountain Log Ride. It's like holy.
Wow.
Like crazy. Like I didn't realize there was that much history at Six Flags Over Texas. I knew it was the first Six Flags, but you start realizing they had the first mine train, they had the first log ride. Like, wow.
We talked a lot about that.
We did.
About how Over Texas honestly felt like a theme park.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like there's a Six Flags culture, but there wasn't a lot of the advertisements and things that you normally see at a Six Flags park. Six Flags Over Texas, you could tell, was well thought out. The water features, everything was planned, and you can tell that they put their heart and soul into building that park.
Yeah, they had different themed lands too. There was like
exactly.
Yeah, like Texas and like I don't know the other one. There was like Mexico. Then there was, yeah, it was really, really cool.
Yeah, having been to like half of the Six Flags parks, I definitely feel, in my opinion, it's my favorite Six Flags park.
Same.
Like by far.
Yeah.
It's just so different than the other ones.
Yeah, I thought it was really great. It was a nice little park, and it has a good selection of rides. So now that we've given Six Flags Over Texas a lot of love, let's talk about bucket list parks. Like where in the world would you go if you could, and if there's no COVID and you had unlimited funds? Where would you go? Whoever wants to start first.
I have two.
Go ahead.
Is that okay?
That's okay.
Of course.
So Phantasialand is definitely on my list. I need to write Taryn because I'm just like an Intamin, like Intamin is fave. So I love Intamin. And I would say Energylandia, just because they're an up and coming park. And of course, Sadra's there. So
they also have a pretty awesome Intamin there with
they sure do.
Hyperion?
Hyperion,
right?
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hyperion. So I'm like, I have my passport now. It actually came in the mail. I could actually book some trips possibly. So definitely those two. And I'm a big fan of, like I said, Intamin and theming. So those go hand in hand. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. What about you, Julius?
Yeah.
For me, most people know I have a particular lifestyle. So Ferrari World, actually, in Abu Dhabi, that's where I want to go. I want to go there. And actually, I believe Intamin is the one who manufactured Formula Rossa.
Correct.
That is my bucket list park. I have to go. I have to see it. I want to be immersed in that kind of like their lifestyle, that, not gonna lie, the kind of higher end stuff. Sure. But also like you pair it in with coasters, and then you have a coaster that goes like close to 150 miles per hour. I think it's 146.
You have to put goggles on.
Right, you have to put the goggles on. Exactly. But that is my bucket list park. I have to go. I have to go. And if I'm able to drive a Ferrari for a day, bonus.
Yeah.
Which Ferrari would you drive?
Spider.
Oh.
All right.
It's because it's a little smaller,
he was quick
a
too.
little bit more sleek. Yeah. Red, of course.
Red. It's got to be red.
It gotta be red. Black interior.
Yeah, I
thought about this.
Okay. What size tires? No, I'm just kidding.
Wow!
He already knows. He already knows. He already knows.
You got like a whole checklist right there. Like boom, boom, boom.
Right.
But no, I've heard nothing but good things about Ferrari World in Abu Dhabi. I've heard just absolutely good things about that. Like all of the rides too. Like they've got. Speaking of another Intamin, the what's considered the best Intamin Blitz model there is. It's like that. It's like no, it's not. It's not a Blitz. It's the Skyrush model.
Flying Aces.
Flying Aces, correct. I heard that's like supposed to be amazing.
Okay, I forgot about that. That's another reason to go, right?
Abu Dhabi looks like
exactly.
Let's go. All right, very, very cool. You kind of both have talked about your bucket list coasters. What about a coaster that hasn't opened yet, or has been announced, or is under construction? Which ones are you most looking forward to?
I think we both.
Yeah.
Okay, ready?
Okay.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Iron Gwazi.
Is that what you were gonna say?
No.
No.
Oh!
No, and I felt it coming. I'm looking forward to the unannounced Jurassic Velocicoaster.
Oh.
So you got to go into it. He's already said it like 4 or 5 times within the last minute.
That's right.
You're like,
That's right.
I see.
Because we both like intense rides, but we like them in different ways.
Yeah. Sure. Well, look, Florida's going to be the place to be when those both open up. I mean, they are fighting each other because, I still am on Team Iron Gwazi for a long time. I mean, that death roll, come on.
Ooh,
incredible.
Death roll.
Yeah.
It's called Death Roll.
Death Roll.
Death Roll.
Yes.
It's beautiful colors. I love the purple. That's something that we really haven't really seen outside of like a Joker coaster, but like just the going all in on the purple. It just looks wonderful. The trains look wonderful. It just, it's almost like they're just saying, yeah, we see you still, Vengeance. We see you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I like that. And then you have Velocicoaster. Velocicoaster to me, we'd heard about it, we knew about it, but then when it really started ramping up and we just started looking at it, we like all of a sudden my eyes just, it's that meme where there's like that guy and his like girl, whatever, and like the girl with the red dress is walking by and the guy's like, you know what I mean? It's like,
right, you're like,
oh,
are you really? Is this a thing?
Right.
have you seen that meme? You've got to seen that meme. But it's like,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's like
Iron Gwazi was like, oh, and then Velocicoaster comes and like,
Yep.
it's already 100%. You've got a ride coaster, and it's not even done yet.
I mean,
exactly.
That says something in its own. It's not even close to done, and you're already gonna 100% ride that thing.
right. And
and want to keep riding it.
I
They could leave it like that; it'll be good. The way it is.
Right.
So we'll be riding Iron Gwazi and that coaster.
That's what's it. Because they're going to be so close to each other. That's what's insane about it. Is they're going to be so close to each other. That's like amazing. Because like I'm still a fan of Pantheon. I'm really excited for Pantheon as well. But it's like I think Pantheon's going to have say like their stall, how it's like so like elongated. I think that's going to be better than anything on Velocicoaster or whatever it ends up being called. But I think that speaking of death rolls, whatever that heartline twist right over the the bay.
Oh my gosh! Throwback to Maverick.
I know. I think that's probably why they did it. I think that Universal is kind of going, hey, Cedar Fair. We like I said earlier, we see your still Vengeance, and we see that element that you removed from Maverick, your other really amazing ride, and we're just gonna make them better in our park. I think they're really they're coming after Cedar Point. They really are. I mean,
I'm here for the coaster wars.
Hopefully we can spark some new coasters. I'm here.
Well, I think that second age of the coaster wars is upon us now because before it was like who can do taller, faster, and whatever. Yeah. Now I think it's like who can out element each other. Like RMC brought it. RMC just dropped the mic for the last couple of years. Like, doesn't need to be tall, doesn't even need to be fast. Just it needs to have those sexy curves, and people will ride. And then airtime became a thing now. Like airtime is like so important. Like because we now talk about ejector airtime and floater airtime and now flowjector and upside down and all those weird stuff.
I'm still trying to get flowjector. I'm still trying to figure out what is that.
It's like not quite floater, not quite
is that
ejector.
What that is?
It's like in the middle.
Yep.
I'll tell you a good example of flowjector. Front row Goliath at Six Flags Magic Mountain on that camelback after the turnaround.
Gotcha.
But then it's floater.
Right, gotcha. You pop up, but then you're floating. I gotcha.
Right. But like, just going back to this, so it's like, RMC really brought it, and now you're seeing Intamin answer the call.
Yes.
Like, all right. And now you're seeing Vekoma answer
the
call.
Let's not forget.
Because they're
doing a great job in China and Europe right now.
Yeah, like Lek Coaster, I've heard nothing but praise for Lek Coaster. Like, it's supposed to be like, so, and then whatever Abyssus is going to be at Energylandia, I'm sure it's just going to be fantastic. So,
exactly.
And then SNS.
Is that the inverted one?
No, it's the new one.
Oh, because I saw an inverted coaster that they're doing as well, Vekoma.
Oh yeah, that's the new. It's going to be the update to the SLCs. I think it's called now.
Yes.
Called the STC, I think. Suspended Thrill Coaster. I think is what it's called now.
I'm gonna take your word for it.
I think Salt Lake City was going to sue Vekoma because they're like, quit giving SLC a bad name. Please stop.
Know who's gonna tell us? Who? The enthusiasts in the comments.
Yep.
That's right. Get in the comments. Get in the comments. Let us know. But yeah, I love that it's element focused now, and and it doesn't need to be jam packed. We don't need like 13 inversions, even though I'd love 13 inversions. But like it's just if you can make those elements like Twisted Colossus. Twisted Colossus only goes upside down twice. There's only 2 inversions on that thing, but they're so solid. They're so solid.
I have a confession to make.
He hates Twisted Colossus.
So I hope you all don't get mad at me. But after writing Steel Vengeance, Okay.
Uh-huh.
And mind you, I've only ridden it during the pandemic, so the train is not full. Twisted Colossus is still the winner for me.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something controversial like Twisted Colossus is the worst and I want to burn it down. I want to catch it on fire again like you did in 2015. Oh, whoops, you didn't.
Oh!
That wasn't you. No, I think you're right. I've always said, look, Steel Vengeance is an amazing ride.
It's amazing.
But what I think it is it's Twisted Colossus plus Goliath at Six Flags Great America combined.
Yep. Yep.
You know, that doesn't mean it's not a good ride. I mean, it's a fantastic ride, but I think I came away enjoying Maverick better. But, you know, but it's still an amazing ride.
Which I've heard that a lot, that people, their favorite ride in the park is either Dragster or Maverick.
Yeah.
Look at Intamin. It's Intamin again.
Because Intamins are crazy. Well, you know, I really love Dragster a lot. I love Dragster a lot, but like if you've been on Accelerator, it's, you know, I knew what to expect. Yes, the launch is a little more forceful. Obviously, you're 400 feet. But I really think that, I'll tell you why I like Maverick more. You know, it's the familiarity of going into an RMC. I mean, looking at Steel Vengeance is beautiful. You see that drop. It's like beautiful. You can't wait for those new elements.
Yeah.
And I was excited for that outward bank turn. That was great. That was a new experience. But there's a familiarity about it, which is not a negative. That's not a negative.
Right.
It's, you know.
It's very familiar.
Right.
You know?
And Dragster was the same thing. It was there's a familiarity, but still you got nerves and stuff like that. But Maverick is something I've never ridden before. And so didn't know what to expect, didn't know how it was going to feel. You can watch POVs. That's probably one of the only coasters I've ever ridden that I've watched the POV over and over again, and it was different than what I thought it was going to be. For the best.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I came off that ride with, I mean, the restraint, whatever, but I came off that with just, I mean, a smile like, let's go ride that again.
Like, yeah.
Cedar Point 2021 for me.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, you got to go with John. John needs to go for the first time too.
Yeah, that's actually going to be one of my home parks now. Spoiler alert.
Whoa! And do we have some exclusive like news to drop on?
Yeah, I'm dropping some exclusive news.
So you're gonna be
technically I'll be closer to Kings Island, but yeah, I'll be moving in about a month for about another year and a half to Columbus. So hey, if anybody's out there want to hang out in the parks,
dude, I mean, I'll be first in line. I still haven't been to Kings Island. I was gonna go last month. I was in Michigan for some work, and I was like, do I drive 7 hours in the car in the parking lot and then go to the park and then drive 7 hours back? I decided not to. I should have, because I really want to ride Orion. Like, what's your opinion on Orion?
Okay, so you know what? I've only been on 2 gigas, Millennium and Orion was my first one. Mm-hmm. So there's that. And having been on Orion a couple times, it's not a bad ride at all. I just expected more from a B&M Giga, and that was my first B&M Giga. And I enjoyed Millennium more than Orion, just for the simple fact of, not just because it's intimate, but because it followed the terrain a little bit. It had a little bit more to it. Mm-hmm. Orion felt short for me, and the drop was amazing. I love the speed hill right after, is it the treble cleft or the reverse treble cleft? And then there was a pop of airtime, but I think I was expecting more airtime like the hypers, like, you know, Diamondback or Candemonium that I had a chance to ride this past summer. And so it's not, you know, it's not my favorite, but it was still a fun experience.
Well, Kings Island still is an amazing park. I got to get out there. I'm having like the 2020 hindsight regret. Now I'm like, you know, 7 hours wouldn't have been that big of a deal. You know, but when you're in it,
such like you're at home, you know, in that park. It feels like a theme park, you know, as it's supposed to be. And you know, growing up at Knott's, it was very familiar. You know, we talked about that a little bit. So I think that's why I like Kings Island a little better than Cedar Point.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, it has a little more of a kind of a welcoming feel to it. I mean, Cedar Point for me, when I went for my first time last year, it was just more like an awe. Like, there's this and there's that, and oh my gosh, you know, like it was really, really cool. But I can see what you're saying. I think it kind of felt that way maybe more towards the midway at Cedar Point. Like the midway felt a little more at home. But yeah, God, I got to get the Kings on. I mean, the Beast and you know, Diamondback and
Oh
all that
yes.
stuff. I got to get on those.
Flight of Fear.
I've been on Flight of Fear. I've been the one at King's Dominion.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and actually, I think if I think about it, I think Flight of Fear might have been my very first launch coaster. I'd have to think.
Nice.
What? Well, hold on. No, I think I may have. So that was back when they had Hypersonic XLC at the King's Dominion. Was that my first launch? Don't know. But I just remember that launch was crazy. But Flight of Fear is a fun ride. That's a fun ride. I think that's the first. I'll tell you what my story about Flight of Fear is. That's the first ride where I actually thought it was funny that a ride op fakes out the launch. You know what I mean? Like, now it's just kind of like, oh, okay, blah blah. We see it coming from a mile.
We get it.
I thought it was so funny because, you know, the queue line, you don't really get to see the train until you kind of like almost right on it. And you know, it was like the guy just said, I remember what it was. He was like, he kind of went like this, and he goes, oh, hey, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. It looks like the launch mechanism is broke. Boom, and just launched people. So they kind of like, huh? And then, I don't know why I thought that was so funny. But
and it works with theming, so
it works. You know,
it works.
I thought that was really silly, but I guess they kind of. Did they do that when you rode Mr. Freeze? Were they faking you out at all, or?
Not at all. They kind of just launched us.
See, that's the thing. They just launched us. It's not like we knew it was happening. It just happened.
Oh,
Yep.
Right. And that backwards launch.
Right.
That backwards launch. And you know, the whole moving platform and all that stuff. I mean, what a ride.
Oh,
Yeah.
incredibly done.
Yeah.
Incredibly done.
I'm a sucker for spikes too.
Oh yes, the spike.
Well, you know, and just everything about that ride, it just almost seems like out of place at a Six Flags because it's very well themed. You know, it's like, hey, this has got a great theme. You know, it's
yes,
cohesive.
And fun fact, it has the best air conditioning in the park.
Wait, also for an ice cream.
That's how like the Batman and Robin ride was too in Jersey.
Nice.
Similar, you go into this building, it was super cold.
Oh, it was very much appreciated.
Right.
Absolutely. Okay, well, how about this? What's next for you guys coming up? Like, what are the plans for MrKingCoaster and for Traveling Rec Therapist? Like, what's on the horizon? Obviously, you know, this will probably air in a few days, but you know, what's coming up?
I'll let you go.
You can go.
Me?
Yeah.
What's next? Okay. So really what I want to focus on is exploring outside of theme parks, actually, and kind of going more on like excursions. And of course, hey, is there a credit nearby? Of course, because I'm always looking for a coaster. I'm always looking for that thrill. But I think the thrill is going beyond roller coasters for me. I think it's going more towards experiences in parks. So I guess I've kind of graduated and kind of elevated more towards Disney and things like that. And now that I've kind of, I've been spoiling myself, but I work hard for what I have. I'm kind of moving towards like, I wonder what Disney's resorts are on their private islands. You know, I wonder what they're doing in settings like that, because I'll still have that theme park magic in a sense that I've been searching for during, that I've had to creatively find during this pandemic. And I kind of want to explore more of that and see, what does that have to offer and how does that link back to the Disney parks? Because, Disney is just so well executed. It's all connected. And that's kind of where I want to move towards and see, what they're doing, their cruises, everything like that. So,
well, I got a recommendation for you. Aulani on Hawaii. Aulani, I've heard.
I looked into that. And it's on the list.
BBC.
Yeah. No, we have interviewed a guest. I won't spoil on this episode. Sorry, we're not going to drop any news yet. But we did have a guest that we interviewed that said Aulani is something that you need to check out for sure.
Okay,
nice.
And pin that in.
Taking notes.
What's coming up? So I know you said that MrKingCoaster is you're going to start doing your own stuff. What's beyond that? Like what can we expect coming up very soon?
Of course. So I'm going to continue to be with thecoasterkings.com. We're going to continue to bring you, park updates and continue to bring you, you know, more experiences from everywhere in the world. And the difference is that instead of these updates that I'm going to be writing on the websites, they're all going to be videos. And so you'll see me promoting videos of, like I said, experiences in the park. And not just that, I want to branch out and focus more on the theme park experience. I want to reach out to, hey, you know, I want to go, if someone wants to go to a theme park and they're like, oh, well, I don't know how much this costs, maybe focusing on that, or focusing on what types of food, or, you know, people who have different dietary restrictions, because I have a lot. So, you know, bringing my personal experience into my YouTube videos that are going to continue dropping every 2 weeks as well, from my different experiences traveling to these parks. And like I said, I want to go international with this and just invite people to enjoy their experiences with me.
That's such an excellent idea. You know, go check out MrKingCoaster for that, because I think there is absolutely an audience for people who want to see that perspective. Because, you know, I know a couple, you know, we got to know a few other enthusiasts, and there's some enthusiasts that kind of do that for Disney and stuff like that, where there's such a desire for people to look for that content. So I think that's smart, very, very, very smart of you.
And also have fun, you know?
So
I'm not going to get everything right. I don't expect to get everything right, but I'm having fun, and I want to be as genuine as I can be.
Yeah, and one of the largest YouTubers that we ever had on our program, his best advice that he gave us was, make your videos real. Just make them real. If you have a bad day, talk about it. If you had a good day, talk about it. If you have some food that doesn't taste good, talk about it. Keep it genuine, and that will make people connect with you. So that's great. Dude, I'm excited for both, you know, to watch both your Instagrams and for your YouTubes. And here, let's do this right now. Why don't you throw out all your social medias? Let's give you some shout outs. Go ahead.
Go through
cool.
the list.
So, cool. So I'm at MrKingCoaster. You can also follow our other pages at California Coaster Kings, as well as at the Coaster Kings. Those are the main pages. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. So feel free to reach out to us. And, you know, like I said, we'll build those relationships.
Awesome. Julius.
Okay. For me, I'm only on Instagram. I haven't branched out into YouTube and things like that. I'm still trying to, you know, fund going on these excursions. So on my Instagram, I'm just Travelingrectherapist. That's REC therapist. And yeah, you can find my adventures on there.
Awesome. So here's a new segment that we just started with our last podcast. And I think it's something that we want to start doing regularly now. I want you to both recommend either someone on Instagram or on YouTube, an enthusiast channel that you think more people should check out.
And also, who is your favorite, right?
Well,
or like, you know, like, what is one of your
one of your favorites
channels that you
one enjoy? Of your favorites
I can
one of them. We won't say you don't have to pick one.
But you know, so on that along that, someone that you think more people should watch, and then we'd like you to also nominate who you would like to see as the next guest on the roundtable.
Can it be both the same person?
They can be the same person.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Okay.
So, you want me to start? So definitely, you know, coming into this sort of community, there's lots of different content, all great content as well, but I connected the most with Rob's Rides. So I don't know if you all know that my fellow friend, Rob's Rides channel, he makes amazing content. It was very relatable and funny at the same time, and it's just great coaster content. And so I had the pleasure of hanging out with him a couple weeks back, and I nominate him as well. I would love to see him on the Enthusiast Roundtable.
Awesome. Cool.
Cool.
All right, Rob's Rides. We'll give in the comments. Remember to go to his channel, go to his Instagram, hit him up, let him know that he's just been nominated.
Okay. So, well, you know who the favorite is for me, and he's already on the podcast. So, I would say as far as who to follow, Concerts and Coasters. It is ran by Keegan. And I believe his wife actually runs the account with him as well. He showcases not only theme parks, not only amusement parks, but also infuses music in it with as well. And, you know, kind of how that helps him and how that helps his wife, him and his wife, especially during in times like these, where we need music, you know, when we're not at our favorite park. And, you know, he kind of brings that extra piece. So I actually nominate him as well because I believe he could give that perspective. Because a lot of people, you know, what makes these parks and these rides are music. So I believe he can bring in that piece as well. So Concerts and Coasters ran by Keegan.
Nice.
Awesome. And again, everybody do your part. Hit them up, Concerts and Coasters. Let him know he's been nominated by the Traveling Rec Therapist. You know, no pressure, right? No,
Right.
Again, we are so grateful that you both came onto our show. I'm glad that you're like together, and like it makes it more, you know, because you can play off of each other. I love, you know, whenever we've met you guys in person and we've talked to you, I've always just had a smile on my face because we all get it. I think that's the thing that kind of binds us together is like we all understand and we love what we're doing. And I think that's what I like about this community. That's what I like about theme parks. And that's what I like about Mr. KingCoaster and the Traveling Rec Therapist. That's what I love about you guys. Love it. So hopefully we can get these Cali parks open. We'll get you, Darren, we'll get you come back to California so we can ride some stuff. But if not,
Sure.
let's save that back row therapy session on Iron Gwazi. Let's do it. Iron Gwazi, let's do it. Back row. But again, thank you so much. So
Thank you, guys.
on behalf of
Thank
you guys,
for having us.
You know, giving us this opportunity. Thank you.
Of course.
Because you all are genuine friends. You know, this is a great time. So thank you so much for giving us this opportunity.
No. We're here for you. We're just here to hit record. You know, it's all about you guys.
You make it sound so easy.
So like, comment, subscribe, go follow them. If you want to do ours, cool. But go check these guys out. So on behalf of Mr. KingCoaster, the Traveling Rec Therapist, John Jason Blaze, and me, I'm the ambassador. This has been your Theme Park ERT